All right, so we're going to improve the fit of our line by using the means. So we need to find the mean number of breaths per minute and the mean number of heartbeats per minute from the data in the table. And if you remember the data, here it is. There's a lot of numbers in there. So to find the mean, you would have to add up all the breaths per minute, everything in this line, divide by how many there are. Then you have to add up all the heartbeats per minute and then divide by however many there are. But I'm going to use this opportunity to show you some new things about the calculator that you can do. You might want to crank up your calculator at home and do this as I do it. But what I'm going to do is enter all this data into the calculator and let the calculator figure out the mean for us. All right? And so the way you do that is clear your memory. It doesn't hurt. Notice I have the key press history right now on the calculator, so you can kind of watch what keys I'm punching. But you press Stat, and then you press Enter, and you get this screen that comes up with L1, L2. L stands for list. So we're going to put the data in the list, and the data that we're going to put in is the data from the problem. So the breaths per minute and the heartbeats per minute. And the way you do that is just type in the number. So the first breaths per minute is 16. Press Enter. And the next breaths per minute, Enter. And so on. Then use your right arrow over to L2 to put in the corresponding heartbeats per minute for each of those. In the same way. And when you're done with this, I'll go on to the next step. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to enter the list. I'm going to pause and enter the rest of the list myself, but go ahead and you can pause the video and do that on your own. All right, so I've entered the numbers in the list, and as you can see from my list, I kind of messed up by missing some numbers. So I'm going to show you how to go back and fix some numbers if you forgot a few. And it seems like I have some extra numbers in my list. I should have, according to the thing, 16 numbers, and it appears like I have quite a bit more than that. So I'm going to go up to the top and see what the problem is. So I have 57, 59, 66, 57. Oh, there it was. Now there's a button on here. Let me put the keypad press history. Look at that. There's a button you can push to get rid of one entry. It's the delete button. Just press that, and now that's gone. I got an extra 69 there. So delete that. Got an extra 66 there. Delete that. And 68, 60. Now I think I'm good. I can see that I have an extra 7 here. Let's delete that. Oops, I did delete an extra time. That's not a big deal. If you go second delete, let me clear this so you can see what I'm doing. You go second delete, it'll give you an extra spot in there. And I need to put the number 70 in there. Okay. Now, one way to check your list, let me put the large screen on here for you. The calculator is going to be really sensitive. You need an L1 value for every L2 value to do all the things that we want to do. So you want to check at the very end and make sure that the numbers line up. And you can see here at the very end, I have 144, 120, which is the last number in my list. All right, now I'm going to show you how to do a couple of things that aren't necessarily in the book. You may want to just write down some notes about what buttons I'm pushing. I'll keep press history on there. But I want to make a graph that's like the graph you see in your packet. So on page 16, there's a graph. We're going to make that graph. So make the graph, we have to do our stat plot. And the stat plot, if you look right above the y equals button, you'll notice written in blue. So I have to go second, y equals. Now remember, you can pause wherever, like if you're trying to find these buttons on your calculator, you're wondering where they are. Then I'm going to press enter. And I have to turn this plot on. So I'm going to press, to turn it on, you use the enter button. Now notice it's highlighted on the on and not the off. The rest of it is good. The type, the list, L1, L2, the mark, all that is good. So, so I can make my graph now. If my window is set okay, and right now my window is not set okay, and there's a real fast way to set a good window, and that's by pressing zoom, and then zoom number, I'm going to arrow down here and you'll see zoom, it's called zoom stat, number 9. So I could have just pressed number 9 instead of doing all those arrows. And you can see the graph. Now it actually did a little bit different window than the one on your page, but there it is. But getting back to what we were doing, now we have a graph. And a nice thing about that is when we come up with an equation, we can see how well that equation really fits. So we're going to make the equation, but we're going to use the averages, the mean, to help us write this equation. And that's problem number 2. That's down here. So we're going to find the mean number of breaths per minute, and we're going to do that on our calculator. The way you do that on your calculator is we have to get out of the graphing screen. So let me clear this. The way I do that is I go second mode, and you can see that it's written in blue, quit above that. And to get the mean, press the stat button again, and press second stat. Let me clear that again just so you can see what I did. Press second stat. And then use your arrow over to math, and you'll see number 3. So I'm just going to press number 3, is mean. Now, to get it to do the mean of the right thing, we want the mean of the breaths per minute, and that list is in our L1. So you need to put L1 in here. And if you look above the number 1 on your keyboard, you'll see written in blue, L1. So I'm going to press second, since it's blue, and 1. Let me go through that again. To get L1, and this so you'll know exactly what to do, I'm going to press second stat, arrow over to math, press number 3, then press L1 by doing second 1. Enter. And so I can see my mean for the breaths per minute is 27. Then I'm going to do the same thing, and here's a quick way to redo the same thing. Let me clear the key press. If you press second enter, it'll redo what you just did. And the only thing I have to do is arrow back to L1 and put in L2. And L2 is right above the 2. So second and 2, enter. And there's my average heartbeats per minute, 82.375. So 27 was my average of X. And actually an X with a bar over it stands for average. And my average for Y was 80, what was that? Forget. 82.375. All right, so now that's a point on my graph, and if I go back to my graph, we want to go ahead and put that on there. Actually, on our calculator, you can enter those into your list, but what I'd like to do is put it right on. So 27 is right about here on the x-axis. So just showing a little dotted line where that would be straight up at 27. There's that. And then 82.375, that would be right about here. So there's where our dot's going to be, our new dot. I'll make it green right there. All right, so we want to make sure our line goes through that. Then we just want to adjust our line so that we think the slope is about right for most of the dots. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use this point right here. And then I need like maybe one other dot that I think hits that slope, almost hits that line almost exactly. And I think I'm going to use this one right here. All right. So the second to the last dot is the 41,116. And then I'm going to use my average for the other one, and I'm going to come up with my equation by doing that. All right, so my 2 points now are 2782.375, my average, and 41,116. So I'm going to go ahead and find the slope for that. I'm going to use my calculator here. I'm going to do 116 minus 82.375. That's my difference in my y values. I'm doing it in fancy, so I should be large screen here. Then I have to subtract my x values, which are 41 and 27. And I need to divide those two, so 33.625 divided by 14. And my slope is pretty close to 2.4. I'm going to go with 2.4. So y is equal to 2.4x. And now I got to find the y-intercept. And I want to use this point to find the y-intercept because I want to make sure that value is part of it. So I'm going to use the slope of 2.4. And my y-intercept is the y value minus the slope, 4 times the x-value, 0.7, and that's equal to, back to my calculator, 82.375 minus 2.4 times 27, 17.575. Let's just say 17.6. That's my y-intercept. Okay, and just to check that, we're going to go ahead and put that on our calculator and see how well that hits those dots. 2.4x plus 17.6. That's your y equals 2.4x plus 17.6. Press graph. And that looks pretty good. Now we can use that equation if we want to make some predictions, answer some questions. I'll show you a couple of those. Number 4. It says use your equation for exercise 3 to predict the heart rate for a person who takes 35 breaths per minute after walking for 20 minutes. Compare your prediction with the prediction of other students. So as you probably noticed, we kind of decided what points to use on our own. So other students might pick different points. Anyway, I'm going to have to stop the video now and we'll continue on the next part.